The Iraq funding, tell me about whether you think the president will veto it or not.
First of all, Democrats have, during the 4+ years of this war, provided money and equipment for the troops the president simply hasn't done. Added body armor, equipment for the Humvees and other vehicles that the president simply didn't provide. So we're going to make sure that through the confrontation we're having, dealing with the veto threat, that the troops continue to have everything they need. But again, the president's misleading the American people. The troops aren't about to run out of money. The independent, nonpartisan Congressional Reference Service says there's enough money to go until July. His own generals have said it will last till the end of June. So let's get real. The president has now, for the first time in his presidency, had to understand that there are 3 branches of government. The Founding Fathers set up 3 branches, independent, each having the same power as the other. So the president has ignored the legislative branch of government for 6 years. He hasn't had to deal with them. They've been Republican-dominated and have given him anything he's wanted. That's not the way it is anymore. He's going to have to deal with Congress. And this Congress is saying we need to change direction in the war in Iraq. It is not going well. I do not believe there should be a single drop of American blood, additional blood, shed in Iraq. I do not believe there should be another head injury in Iraq of an American soldier. Let the Iraqis handle their own country. We've spent billions of dollars training their troops. We've spent billions of dollars propping up their government. As far as I'm concerned, that's enough.
Okay, what about the veto, though? Are you worried that if this isn't attached to the spending bill, that he could veto it? Tell me your opinion.
Well, we're ratcheting up the pressure on the president. We have now provisions in the supplemental we think that are very significant and important, calling for the redeployment of troops, not the withdrawal, but the redeployment. And we're going to look at other legislation after that battle dealing with the supplementals completed.
Just in case, right? I have 2 more questions. The president made it very clear that he will not stand for any troop withdrawal deadlines. You obviously don't agree with that. Could you tell us?
Let me make it very clear, as the president tried to. We are not going to allow the president to continue the failed policy in Iraq. We represent the American people's view on this failed war, and we're going to continue to put pressure on the president that he will change course in this war that has been so bad for the American people.
Okay, I need you to respond to one more thing. The president said the delay of troop funding is irresponsible and will severely hurt the military and require troops to be deployed longer. May I have your counter view?
The president should understand that the supplemental appropriation bill is not going to delay anything for the troops. In fact, it will give the troops more than they would have under his original bill. In his bill, for example, that he gave us, we added on to it that there will be money for veterans coming back from Iraq and medical care for the soldiers coming back from Iraq. The military supports what we're doing, just like the American people supports what we're doing. And we're going to continue on our course to make sure that soldiers, sailors, Marines, and airmen have everything they need.
Senator, one of the things that the president said, and he quote here, he says, Congress' failure to fund the troops on the front lines would mean that some of our military families would have to wait longer for their loved ones to return. Is he just... Again,
the American people are being misled by President Bush regarding the war. As we speak, there are troops headed back to Iraq, not having had proper rest. Some of them have been back here about 6 months after having been there. They're going back for their 2nd, 3rd, and 4th quarters of duty. The surge was unnecessary, it's not working, and the president is misleading the American people. The Congress is not about to do anything that will in any way stop the soldiers from having everything they need. This is part of the president's repertoire to try to mislead the American people about this failed war.
So is he playing politics then?
The president is misrepresenting the facts, as he has from the very beginning when he manipulated evidence to take us to war.
Senator, he has promised repeatedly to veto any bill that has a timeline attached to it. And do you feel like you have the votes to override a veto? If he's serious with his promise, what's the point of moving forward with a bill that has a timeline attached to it?
Well, the president has a swagger, and he's been very uncompromising, and that's the reason we're in the quagmire we're in Iraq. He should become in tune with the fact that he is President of the United States, not King of the United States. And he has another branch of government, namely the legislative branch of government, that he has to deal with. And we're looking forward to other Republicans joining with us. We've had a handful. We need more than that. But time is always on our side. The longer this war goes on and the American people continue to see what a failure it's been and what a hardship has been on guard and reserve as we have back here, on soldiers and Marines who are losing their lives, their limbs, and their ability to think as a result of all the bombs being detonated over there. We're headed in the right direction. He's headed in the wrong direction.
There's another event right now where the senior administration of the Veteran of Foreign Wars they're holding in Las Vegas, and they say that they feel like troops are being used as pawns on both sides. What's your response to that?
We are doing everything we can to make sure that the troops in Iraq, Afghanistan, every place in the world that represents the United States have everything they need. But we're also mindful of the fact that this war is costing the American people huge amounts of their treasury, and it's being wasted unnecessarily. Not our gold and our silver, but our young men and women. We believe that we're headed in the right direction, and the President for 4+ years has been headed in the wrong direction. This war has to change. We have to bring our troops home.
Senator, it's been said that setting a deadline would be playing into the hands of the militants over there, because they would just wait until we left and then they would try and resume the war for a takeover. What's your response to that?
Again, the President's misleading the American people. We have said time and time again that the troops will have everything that they need. We have said time and time again it's time for the Iraqis to take off their training wheels and take over their own government. And we have always said that we've been legislating. The President simply has been ignoring the fact that we need redeployment. Does this mean pull the troops out tomorrow? Of course it doesn't mean that. But it does mean redeploy and leave the troops there for counterterrorism, force training, and of course training force protection for our own troops. And the President simply ignores that. That is what must take place. We are headed in the wrong direction in this war, and we have been for 4+ years. This war is going into its 5th year. It's simply unnecessary and doesn't have any long-lasting impact other than negative for our country.
So a deadline is a requirement, then, in your view?
Redeployment is absolutely necessary, and the President is playing with the facts in a negative way, as he always does, relating to this war that he and the neocons came up with, which has been a disaster for our country and the world.
If we do pull out, will we leave the region in a worse shape than it was?
The war has been a failure. There's chaos now, and at the day, whenever that day comes, when our troops come out, there'll be chaos. It's time for the Iraqis to resolve their own differences. The Prime Minister of Iraq has told the President to his face, as I'm speaking to you, last time we met face to face, Mr. President, get the Americans out of Baghdad. The head of the Iraqi democratically elected government told our President that. If you do a poll, and many of them have been done, 70% of the Iraqis think it's okay to kill Americans and hurt Americans. Do we want to be in a country like that? I don't think so. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Senator.